Hello and welcome to sim.bc, where right now is 17:33 and that one is just a tad bit more to the left, right, depending on how you view it from your part of the screen, but for me it's like mirrored, so I don't really know. Now today we're going to get straight into what we're going to talk about. Why? Well, because this is going to be kind of a ranty video. Now I usually don't do these. Why? Well, because,
Let's get real there. I kind of always do, right?
I always find something to talk about, something to clank down on, or something that I just generally dislike. And we're gonna see if we can get through all of the points here today, because I have quite a lot that pisses me off, right? So let's get right into it. And by the way, I'm going to introduce a new aspect as well. So that might actually take up most of the time of this video, which means that the thing that I actually want to rant about that makes me really angry, so that I physically feel unwell at times. That's probably gonna be pushed to tomorrow because I'm probably gonna need the time. Well, that's enough with me rambling on in the beginning. So what am I talking about? Well, one of the things that I absolutely do hate is well-constructed feedback where it's deemed to, where it's needed to be, right? Well-placed feedback. And what am I talking about? Well, I'm not talking about that we got back the group work from 3 weeks ago or like a month ago, because we haven't. Why? Well, because I don't know. Just it's a drag, isn't it? No, what I am talking about is that we did get some feedback on our thesis as of today, and well, it was, as I said, it was well constructed, well-placed feedback. And now there isn't any worse feedback than that, now is it? Because even though it's good feedback that helps us develop our thesis, makes it better, it still means you need to change things, right? And the reason for why I'm irritated about this change is because there was a bit of a miscommunication when applying, like, okay, for instance, we're talking about our questionnaire, right, that we were sending out to people. And before sending out the questionnaire, right, we made a pilot. We sent it to the teacher, we sent it to some friends, we sent it to some corporations. Ambitious, I know. And then we got back lots of different feedback, most of which were take away all of these unnecessary questions because they don't need to be there. And our teacher was basically saying, or our tutor, so he's not responsible for us, getting a good grade or us actually making it. It's more like a guideline for where we should go with our decisions, because the decisions are finally in our own hands, right? Because we are the ones who should provide the rationale for why we're doing something. All fine, all good, all dandy. But he basically said, well, you need to probably make it a bit more easily understandable, you probably need to reformulate, rephrase some of these things, because you have a very academic language, which don't necessarily mean that you're going to get the best outcome here. Even though you have a very precise question or what you want to ask, that might necessarily don't mean that you're going to get the answers that you're looking for, because people might not know these terms. So we thought, well, that's fair, right? And this was like in late February, early March, somewhere around there. So we changed the questionnaire. Now, after that, we thought, well, we're kind of done. We've asked our mates, we've asked the corporations, and we asked our tutors. Now we've gotten all the feedback that we reasonably can, right? I mean, we could have gotten even more feedback on the thing. We could have sent it to other tutors. We could have sent it to other professors that we actually have they are a potential resource, let's say, that we actually can feasibly use. But we just thought that, well, we've looked at it from three different sources. We've compiled it with some previous research within the area. It all seems good. It all seems fine, so we sent it out, and we've been collecting answers for around, I'd like to say, a month, 1.5 months, something along those lines. And we've gotten approximately 110 answers, which we thought was statistically significant, right? So it was sufficient. Therefore, we ended the survey, and we just went out to our tutor and we asked him, and we've been trying to get a meeting with him for like 1.5 weeks now. Since the deadline is in 1.5 months, just to put in context here, the accumulated time that's left is the same amount of time that it took for us to gain all of these responses. Now, we could have bit more, on top of the responses and trying to get even more, but 100 responses at the bachelor level, that's pretty great, I'd say, given that we didn't pay them or anything, right? But we didn't introduce another incentive to answer the questionnaire more than, please, can you answer our questionnaire? which was really nice of them to actually do. However, so we went up to our tutor, which basically just ripped the thing to shreds, right? I ain't even gonna build it up because it's not worth, because that's what he did, right? We went up there and he was like, wow, 100 responses, that's great. And we were like, yeah, thank you. He's like, you're halfway there. And we were like, yay. And then we just asked him, something along those lines, can you just give us some pointers towards how we can analyze this information that we've gathered, because we have this dependent variable and we want to use that as the dependent variable and make a we're not sure if we want to make a multiple regression analysis or what we're going to do. And he's like, oh, your dependent variable doesn't work. And we're like, why? What? And he's like, yeah, do you have any form or reason to find out this? And it was an aspect. And we're like, yeah, it's because they mentioned this aspect in the questionnaire, right? And then they gave their answers based on the dependent oh yeah, dude, they put we put the power in the hands of the people who are going to answer the questionnaire. We put the power of the independent variable in their hands as well. So now that's going to be dependent. Even though it was only like 2 answers they could give, so it could either be 1 or 2, let's say. After, post-coding, that's how I see it now. It could either be 1 or 2. And the teacher was just like, yeah, but if they say 1 and give a motivation to ask why they chose 1, isn't that quite biased? That's apparently something called common research bias, something along those lines. And we were standing there like, it's 1.5 months to the deadline, and we have all of this information that apparently is useless now. And he was like,
yes.
No, it's not actually useless. You can still use it. It's very much a descriptive information, right? You can make a descriptive cross-functional analysis with this. Sure, you can do that. You can measure different frequencies and whatnot. That's all fine. However, you can't actually draw any in-depth conclusions based on your answers because, well, the different questions aren't actually in-depth questions. And this, of course, made us a bit angry. A tad bit angry. I'm saying a tad bit. I was furious. I didn't show it, but I was absolutely going mental on the inside. But I was smiling on the outside, like, yes. And they were equally represented, right? My wrath and my joy, both that, well, this is all crap, we can't use this, simultaneously as he was actually giving us quite good feedback that we actually needed. And as one of my mates were pointing out, he was saying like, well, it's happy that he did it now and not in 1 month, right? Because then we would only have 2 weeks to repercussion the entire project. And I was like, don't you just hate when someone is turning something completely reasonable around to be even more reasonable when you're furious about it and you can't really motivate why you're furious about it? I hate that. Anyway, so it turns out that we need to redo a questionnaire. It's not the biggest deal in the world. We probably can do that in like 2 or 3 weeks, get a couple of responses, and the tutor even said like, well, given the time frame, you probably ain't gonna get 100 responses again, even though you could, but you probably ain't gonna have the time to do that, even though you can, because you have another course, advanced corporate finance or whatever, simultaneously, and you also have, more to write. And you probably need to restructure the thesis a bit because, they should be fit in there. And I was like, yeah, that's all fine. That's all good. And it's all dandy. And just, again, screaming and crying in the inside. And I can just assume the other people in the room was doing the same. And so we walked out and started working on the thing. And I was just so bloody furious about the entire thing. Yeah? Because I was standing there. I was like, I hate this. I really dislike this. I didn't hate it. I mean, really, that's a strong word, right? But I really disliked the situation we were in because I finally felt, as of now, we were in a position where we could be done, like, on the 23rd. My goal, right, was Infinity War. I was like, before Infinity War launches worldwide, I think it's worldwide anyway. It's in Sweden, I think. On the 24th, I'm gonna be done with the thesis. And then I went up, happy as ever, talked to me tutor, and he was just like, hey, you. Wow, okay, that was supposed to be very dramatic, but I just realized I was hitting my own lamp. Okay. Yeah, that was a bit of a fail. Anyway, we're moving on because we can't just stand here ranting about this all of the time. I mean, I probably could. I have so much more to say. Sometimes you just need to ventilate, right? All of the things that you want to do, but this isn't one of those times. Or it actually is, but, well, as of you know, it's the 20-minute delimitation on the DSLR, and I could stand here for hours talking about this, just reiterating the same point over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Why? Well, because I'm mad, even though it was fair critique, well placed, that really helped us. That is why I can go over and over and over and over again, because I have no actual rationale. I have no reason to actually be angry. I should be happy, right? But still, I just need to work even more and put in more hours to something that I feel that I shouldn't have made a mistake to begin with. And that's the worst, because that's just a kind of a barrier for me to actually learn from this experience, me actually being angry about it. So I totally recommend, if you find yourself in this spot, just imagine your anger being like this lid and just push all of your negative emotions into it and drop your anger. Yeah, that doesn't work. Anyway, we're probably gonna, we're gonna move on. Okay, so the next thing, the big features, I'd say, the new feature at least, if it's big or not, we'll see. It's this new thing. Let's just see where I am. Okay, well, that didn't give me anything because yet again, it's going to be mirrored however I do this. So let's see if I can just flip the head in my mind and over there. Yeah? No? Maybe? I think it's supposed to be a box. Either here or here. Well, you're gonna see it anyways. It doesn't really matter. Well, anyway, no matter which side it's on, this is kind of a new idea that I had. And what is this? This is supposed to be a checklist of what we're talking about over the course of the videos that we're gonna make in the future. Why? Well, because I realized, even though I'm having the topic title at the top here, sometimes it can be very hard to follow, where are we actually, where are we, or what things are we actually gonna go through. And perhaps in the start of the video, you can go in and you can see, aha, he's going to talk about, I don't know, Sharp ratio. Maybe you want to be invested in what Sharp ratio actually is. Maybe you want to be invested in what does the function look like, what does the linear function look like, where does it actually cut the other graph that's in there that I don't remember what it is. Well, it's just a poorly chosen example. But maybe there's a bit of like introduction, building context, and then conclusions, or, you know, tackling the problem or whatever. And you can get a sense of how I'm going to go about a topic. Now, we're probably going to play around with the size of this thing, because as of when I made this in the structure of, well, the Photoshop structure, the Photoshop framework, I didn't really know how big it was going to be in when, you know, when it's here in the video thing. Now, sure, I can put it in and take it out and resize it, but what's the fun in that, right? Let's experiment together. So that's the new thing. I'm ranting about my statistics, the descriptive statistics, the inferential statistics, all the things that I want to do, the analysis I want to do, the dependent variables I thought that I had, but I didn't, and now this new box thing. So we've covered a lot of things today, right? And unfortunately, we only have a couple of minutes left until all of this blacks out, so to say, the DSLR quits altogether, and I'm actually going to go and work out and release all of my emotions. I don't think that I can stress it enough to say how important I believe it is to actually work out and just let all your emotions run free and run away from you, yeah? So that's probably what I'm gonna do, and I have something that I really, really want to rant about, like, it's on the top of the damn list. This is one of those days that's in contrast as of yesterday, because yesterday I had all of these things that I didn't want to talk about really, and I came up with another thing to talk about, and today I had like 15 things I wanted to talk about, but only like 1 or 2 things that I actually could manage it within the time frame. So, or well, I could like really structure, just fire them all off, but that wouldn't, you know, wouldn't gain anyone. So I think, why not break them up into different videos? So tomorrow is probably just laying the curtains for you. Yeah, probably going to be a bit of a rant video, because it's something that I feel very strongly about. Probably going to be a half controversial video. It's going to be controversial if you're an idiot. No, you can't say that, but some people that has a certain view of society and life are going to say, that's stupid, sim.bc, what you doing? Other people are going to say, that's bloody obvious, and then you can fight in the comment section below. But that's going to be all for tomorrow, mate. Sorry for me teasing it. It's going to probably be all good, all great. But until tomorrow, have a nice one, mates, and I'll see you.